nothing can happen without strategy. That's why it's the first pillar. You've got to have your market, your message, your roadmap. You've got to have it with SMART goals. If you don't, you will fail. And to execute on that strategy, you need the tactics, processes, and the people. Don't get shiny object syndrome. Build lean. One CRM and a couple different pieces, maybe a project management tool, and obviously communication stuff, Google Workspace, Microsoft 365, and either Teams or Zoom. It does not need to be a robust tech stack for growth. Get the key elements, don't over deploy or overbuy, and build your systems around your execution roadmap of your strategy, not the other way around.
Welcome back to The Revenue Recipe. I'm Ben Wiggins, and I'm here with Kenan Rappuchi. Kenan, what's going on?
Hey, doing my thing, man. Great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you as well. We're going to talk in episode 2 here about systems. Kenan, systems. Lay it on us.
Systems. Well, there's a couple different ways to think about that when we talk about our pillars, strategy, system skills. The systems piece, most people misunderstand. They can, there's systems thinking, there's IT systems. Break it down again to fundamentals, staying in character.
Yeah.
It's tools and processes. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I say that's pretty much it. There's quite a lot beneath that. But when you look at your systems, you have to have the right tools.
Yes.
And you have to have the right processes within your operations to build efficiency in the game of winning new revenue.
Mm-hmm. There are a lot of systems partners out there in today's marketplace. What is the biggest problem as you look at that landscape?
So let's just categorize systems providers first. So when you look at that, you got CRMs, obviously, you got market automation systems. You've got data aggregation. You've got obviously your AI tools, clearly. You've got automated, AI bots to do sales development. I love that little, trend that's happening. That's going to fizzle out quickly.
Yes.
And those of you who are trying it, good luck. I hope it works out for you.
No, he doesn't, and neither do I.
You're right. So anyway, long story short, because buyers are tired of that bull. They're tired of it. They don't want to be, hit up by a bot on a phone call or, on a chat bot. They want to talk to somebody when they're ready to talk to somebody, not a bot in most cases. Now, that said, there are places for AI.
Yes.
Very important places.
Without a doubt.
Very important places. But when we talk about systems pertaining to growing your business, which, let's just net it out, sell more faster. It's a book by Amos Schwartzfarb, a contemporary of mine. He's with Techstars, published author. He's written a couple books. But the first one he wrote was called Sell More Faster. Great book. Pick it up on Amazon. Amos, if you're listening, that's a plug for you. Love you, brother. So bottom line is you need to have a system that will allow you to do that, okay? Because you have to launch before you can scale.
Yeah.
And scaling requires, it's defined simply as making more money without spending more money. Let that sink in for a minute.
Yeah.
Making more money without spending more money, or at least not spending the same relative amount of money. Okay. So metrics like RPE, revenue per employee, right? So for most services businesses of about our size and scope and footprint, ideally we should be doing about $350,000 to $400,000 revenue per employee.
Okay.
Our business models can support that. So that should be a number that we look at. So how do we know if that's the number we're doing? Well, it's very simple. Okay. So you need to have a forecasting system, which can generally be put into CRM. And you need to track to that system and track to your performance through your roadmap. Okay. So that is a system that you'll have that is a tool, not a process, although it's fed by a process, forecasting specifically, which is dynamic and ongoing. So it's a process. It doesn't just happen once. That's a part of the whole system's infrastructure. But when we look at missteps, mistakes, the nefarious in the space, like you asked, it's those that are trying to sell and pull the wool over their market's eyes with the promise of technology will be the key to unlocking their revenue growth. This AI, this system, our software is the key. Right. You have to have our software. You have to have our automated outreach, our buyer intent. You have to have this to grow your revenue.
Yeah.
Well, you may or may not.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the nefarious ones are those that are making those promises when all they're focusing that promise on is technology. People don't buy from tech.
Right.
Yep.
What's the most common manifestation of that?
Usually it's when a marketing agency is giving a pitch and saying, well, we're using AI and we're doing this and we're doing that. And we have these KPIs and it's all objectives based. And, our retainer is $25,000 a month.
Yeah.
Okay. Because these are all the brands we've worked with.
Right.
So in the marketing agency or consulting services, even the coaching space, if you will, consulting space, fractional CMOs, CROs, CSOs, et cetera.
Yeah.
There's often a lead in about a promise that they're going to make, when in reality, and this is very important, they can't promise you anything until they see what you've already done.
Okay.
And if they're not asking to look at your CRM, if they're not asking you to look at your past history and how you got there, if they're not asking you about the last 10 accounts you sold and how you sold them and why they bought, and you don't have the system that has the data that can prove that, then they're just making false promises. So that's a manifestation of someone just trying to pull their wool, the wool over your eyes.
Okay.
Right? Yep.
So then let's talk about how this gets done right.
Okay. So the way it gets done right, again, you'll remember from a couple episodes ago, we talked about the stage of your business, right?
Yeah.
You are launch or scale. Those are the first two stages any business goes through. Okay. So when you're launching, you've got a product, you've got some funding, you your market is, you got a message built for them. You got an offer that's E3. You got your roadmap set up for SMART goals. What you need, number one, first and foremost, is the right CRM.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean Google Sheets. I'm sorry, some of you hustling entrepreneurs out of Wharton B School.
You're crushing my dreams here,
Oh,
Kenan.
man, I cannot believe I do a lot of coaching, a lot of mentoring through different accelerator partners we have. And I got to be candid. This up and coming generation of entrepreneurs on AI, they're brilliant. They are brilliantly stupid. Okay.
Okay.
Brilliantly stupid. Because they look at, that's CRM, I can set that up myself. Or I don't need HubSpot. I don't need Salesforce. I can use Google Sheets for this because I can do pivot tables and I can get data out of it. And thank you for playing. Okay. Yeah. So I'm not saying you can't, but you need a system that you can build on that's scalable. So that is the cornerstone from a system standpoint and a growth pillar standpoint.
Right.
That's the cornerstone of your growth system, the right CRM.
Touch on that just a moment. You said HubSpot, you said Salesforce. Let's talk a little bit about how to choose a CRM.
Great question. It's not rocket science.
Okay.
So HubSpot and Salesforce are the two 10-ton gorillas in the room.
Yeah.
I've had significant experience with both. As a matter of fact, Sellerant is the top HubSpot for startups partner in the whole ecosystem. And there's like 7,500 partners now.
Okay, so you guys are usually recommending HubSpot.
Well, yeah, we're only on HubSpot now. I was on Salesforce for 15 years, 14 years.
Okay.
And I didn't like the direction Salesforce was going. That's neither here nor there. That was a personal choice as a businessman who does a lot of implementations. But we went with HubSpot primarily because they finally decided to step up the game with launching a sales hub to compete with Salesforce specifically, whereby they had started and really cut their teeth and made their mark in inbound content marketing. They kind of invented that space.
Yeah.
So we're now at HubSpot. But those are generally the first two you want to look at. Now, there are a lot of up-and-comers in the space that are offering cheaper solutions that do basic things that a CRM would do. The right CRM functionality, the fundamental functionality is not hard to find.
Yeah.
Okay? But you have to have an eye for not only today, but where you're going. So we generally recommend an enterprise-level CRM that has some AI implemented already into it. Like HubSpot is working with Breeze. They've done some strategic acquisitions recently.
Sure.
So we're, of course, going to suggest HubSpot. We don't sell it. We don't service it. We don't support it. We implement it. Okay, so it is part of what our managed services do, a very key part, because we've been able to create a build around automation and around lead generation, sales enablement, lead scoring, several key pieces from our experience as a growth services company and a leader in the space. We've been able to create a configuration model and replicate that very efficiently that can help our users learn, adopt, and embrace the CRM for scalable growth.
Okay, so let's talk about what that doesn't mean from a systems perspective. Like if Sellerant is doing an implementation on HubSpot, what are if you guys are cutting, we're trying to cut a clean lane here and we're trying to learn what all is not in that lane. You mentioned that you don't sell it. You mentioned that you don't support it. Like what, if someone is expecting to work with a well-built systems provider in this space. Let's just use Sellerant as an example. What do you guys not do?
Great question. So Alex Denoyers, who is our partner development manager at HubSpot, I love you, Alex. I respect you a lot, and we've known each other, worked together for several years now. So please forgive me in advance for what I'm about to say, because I know it's counterintuitive to what HubSpot's out there to do, which is sell software and more of it. When Sellerant does an implementation, whether it's our growth hero, which is HubSpot enablement and rapid onboarding, whether it's that program or just coming in to fix a flawed implementation, which we do very frequently, ironically enough, have to fix others' mistakes.
Okay.
What we don't do is try to suggest more when less will do. And I'll be more specific around that. For example, if you're an early stage funded startup with a product that is very specific in a niche like semiconductors, and the use case of it specifically is around the early stage validation of a circuit layout, which is a very specific function that's very labor intensive and very expertise intensive. They're not going to do a self-service buy. They're not going to be looking at a bunch of content in a marketing channel or go to a webinar. These are circuit design engineers and leaders that know scientific journals. So their sales function does not need a massive content marketing or content management system.
Okay.
It's very direct touch intensive.
Okay.
So if we were to suggest a HubSpot subscription for them, we would suggest Sales Enterprise.
Okay.
Not Marketing Pro or Enterprise, not Service Hub, not the customer platform with all the content and all the great bells and whistles, because they're not going to use it. So what this means is when we assess a company's situation as it relates to what system to recommend and implement, we're going to look not only at what they're trying to achieve, but who they are and who they serve and their business model, their sales model, their market penetration and situation, their sales enablement, their customer journey. We look at all these things first and then make a recommendation on what hub they should provision.
Okay, so we talked about what is not in that clean lane. Now, what is in that clean lane? What is the right way to do one of these implementations?
Okay, so first thing we need to do is understand what the roadmap is, what the objectives are. You have to have objectives for doing your implementation, okay? And the objectives are all around growing your business, so it's really quite simple, okay? Market, message, roadmap, and your offer, right?
Yeah.
So what's in the correct lane is using highly focused messaging and content when you're reaching out for the first time to your target audience. Here's the very challenging reality for startups and scaling small businesses. In literally most all cases, your target market isn't lining up at your door going, please sell me, here's my wallet. They're not lining up at your door 10 a week and going, I want to buy from you, I want to buy from you.
Right.
Okay. That's a fact. So you don't have any choice but to go knock on their door. Now, what's important to think about when you implement a CRM and put your growth systems in place is you have to know what mediums, where your ideal target customers are active online. Are they on LinkedIn? Are they publishing? Do they go to events? Do they live on email? Okay. Do they live on LinkedIn? Where are they active? Are they on YouTube? Are they in social networks? Where are they active? Are they in Slack channels? Are they in user groups? Are they in forums? Are they in special interest organizations? You have to know where they are. And when it comes to implementing your system, you have to be extremely careful not to blast or spam. Just use the word. Send a whole bunch of spam out through your CRM, through your integrated email, to try to make it a numbers game, to reach more of your prospects. What happens with that is you can get your domain frozen. There's so many things that could happen that the nefarious, lead gen guys are doing with trying to use multiple domains to job the system. Don't do that. Just don't do it.
Yeah,
right?
Don't do that.
Have focused messaging. Work and focus on efficiency before you focus on volume, and have analytics set up to where is your content getting engaged with, by whom, when. What are the key elements of that content and your message and your model that are resonating with your target market? So setting up reports for things like engagement. Top of funnel this month, I have 50 target accounts. I'm averaging 3 automated and 5 personalized touch points through email or LinkedIn to each of those 50 accounts. Out of all that activity, I've now created 9 top of funnel leads. So those 9 top of funnel leads represent an opportunity to qualify them into a legitimate buying opportunity. And your CRM needs to be configured with reports that show that dynamically evolving funnel from outreach to engagement to pipeline to a yes, no, or later. Yes, I'll buy. No, I won't, or not right now. So having the system set up to do that effectively with a focused target market and reporting on forecasts in dashboards that give you the right KPIs, that's best practice. Not just let's just set it up to send out as many of these offer emails as we can next week. We got to get it out. We got to get eyes on it, right?
So some of what you're talking about plays to lead scoring, so to speak.
It does.
What do you think is the stuff that people that the market hasn't really processed with respect to lead scoring?
So lead scoring by definition is just taking trackable engagements like email clicks or page visits or email responses or meeting bookings or form submissions, etc. Activities that are digitally trackable.
Yeah.
And applying a set of logic around, well, because they did this, they should get that score. So you set up a rubric type system, and if they hit a certain number, you go, that indicates that there's some engagement. That's only half the battle.
Yeah.
That's where most agencies draw the line. That's where most agencies stop. Okay. What our model is, Sellerant that is we have a dynamic lead scoring model that has a couple of different levels.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And once a target audience contact hits a certain threshold, they get a different set of nurture content that's focused on them, their situation, their industry, their business, their role, what they're thinking about, worried about spending most of their time on right now.
Yeah.
These are key properties that we build into our configuration. Motivations and pain points.
Yes.
And blockers and objections and the narratives around those. Now, those are key elements of the CRM that need to be configured properly and need to be analyzed religiously to continue to tune and tweak that message so that when you do have that next level of engagement, it's highly personalized, highly relevant. And then there's the third level of engagement that identifies a legitimate prospect ready to engage in your customer journey or your buying cycle. So this is different than, and this is very important. I want to make sure we're very clear on this. This all gets run through your CRM.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah, I'm with you. So then what tells you when they've gotten to that third level?
When they've gotten to that third level, that's a tier that we've put business logic into with a tremendous amount of experience behind it based on what we call smart content that drops when they're ready to buy.
Okay.
So when they hit that threshold, they literally get a personalized one-to-one written email from you, your rep, to them directly. with 3 or 4 different elements around their situation that you want to align with and offer them value on a discovery call.
Okay.
So looking at these tiers, what you're doing is you're using the CRM as, just call it the diesel engine. Okay. It is the progressive, persistent, personalized prospecting engine because again, they're not knocking on your door. Okay. And the message always has to be about what they're thinking about, worried about, spending most of their time on right now, which AI can help you develop that framework to take it to the next step.
Okay.
So ultimately, when they hit that legitimate buying opportunity, you know that now is the time to engage that prospect with your offer. Okay.
Sure.
And so using that efficiency, hyper-targeted efficiency approach, what's happening is you're enabling your system to make you more efficient with your sales motions.
Okay.
So I often ask this question to founders. Would you rather, and this is a trick question, okay?
Yeah.
So if you're in your comfort zone right now, whatever that means to you, and critical thinking is probably not something you want to imbibe in right now, you might want to hit fast forward. But here's the question.
You ready to get uncomfortable?
Here we go. Would you rather have 40 meetings to close 4 10K deals, or would you rather have 10 meetings to close 1 10K deal?
Well, it sounds to me like you wasted 36 meetings in one case and 9 in the other case.
Yeah, pretty much. So what you're doing is you're looking at this logarithmic equation and going, okay, so I'm going to get more sales if I have 40 meetings.
Yeah.
But if I'm if I can have fewer meetings,
Yeah.
and in those fewer meetings, the time that I'm not spending having those other 30 meetings, what could I have been doing in that time? So what you're looking at is ultimately turning that ratio into 10 to 2 and 10 to 4.
Yeah.
And you're doing that by having higher quality conversations and taking the motivations and pain points and blockers and objectives and the narratives around them and applying our AI model, powered somewhat by HubSpot, but mostly by Sellerant machine language gurus and sales business experts in understanding where those key points are. So now you can become more efficient over time. The system enables you to do that.
Yeah. So let me push back on this a little bit. So I can hear some people thinking, well, if I take the 40 meetings and, blow 36 of them, but get 4 sales. So I've made the sales, but also the 36 meetings give me more data. So in the early going, is it worth it to have that additional data?
So there's 2 schools of thought there. That's a very good point. This is a very debatable point. Where I look at it is more data is not necessarily better data.
Okay, go on.
So you may recall one of our tenets of success is you don't have to sell to everybody.
Yes, true.
What you want to do is you want to pare that market down to hyper fit. Literally, these are my best clients.
Yeah.
So let's just say there's 500 of those. Okay, there's 500 out of your market of 5,000. There's 500. These are perfect clients for Proclaim. Perfect. They're perfect in every way. We've researched them. They hit the firmographics. We know what their concerns are. We've got a bunch of data. We can prove it. We can walk in their shoes. We're in their DNA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you really need 40 pieces when you could get 10? No, you don't, because you could over data yourself.
Yeah.
Did we cover this a while? What's the only constant?
Change.
Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. Big data is a thing because AI is fed by big data, massive data sets. You need massive data lakes, massive data warehouses. More is always good.
Yeah.
However, it doesn't make it more efficient. Okay? What it does is it gives you more variances. Okay. So there's a fine line. All we're talking about here, understand, is launch and early scale stage companies. You have to sell more faster, remember?
Yeah.
Faster.
Yes.
So I'll take that 1 for 10 because I can have the other 36 or 30 meetings. The time that I can I would have spent having those that didn't result in anything productive or revenue. There's marketing thrusts. There's product development thrust. There's staffing and hiring thrust.
And this matters in startups and scale-ups because people are wearing multiple hats.
Correct. And so this is what the recipe to scale a company is. Doing more profit and more revenue with the same cost. Okay. So it's a slippery slope. It's a debatable point. It's always one for good conversation. But when you think about it this way, what is the value of my time? And the only value of your time is its output in the form of new revenue. Kenan, 40-4 is the same as 10-1. Correct. But what could you be doing with those other 30 meetings that you that could add value to your business when you're running lean and trying to scale anyway? Again, there's no one way to solve the problem, but you always have to focus on efficiency. That's what the systems component is about. Efficiency, not just doing the work, not just having the activity, not just filling your meeting up calendar up with meetings from every little person that wants to kick your tires, right? You're actually talking to buyers who are engaged and ready to enter your sales cycle.
Right. Let's talk a little bit, and we're going to hit skills in episode 3.
Sure.
But let's talk a little bit about the interrelationship between those three and how to think about the three of them working together, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Great question. So we arrived at this over many iterations of looking at our unfair advantage as a growth services company.
Yeah.
Because, are we a marketing agency? Not particularly, but we do it very well. Are we a lead gen company? Not particularly, but we do it very well. Are you a HubSpot company? Not particularly, but we do it very well. So people ask me, so what the hell are you? What do you do? We grow businesses.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so what does that mean? We help you get more sales faster with less cost, time, and risk. Oh, okay. How do you do that?
Yeah.
We take a holistic blend of the 3 growth pillars of strategy, systems, and skills. We have the unique expertise to be able to blend those together to accelerate your revenue growth, do more faster. Okay.
Yeah.
So as they correlate, strategy, nothing can happen without strategy. That's why it's the first pillar. You've got to have your market, your message, your roadmap. You've got to have it with SMART goals. If you don't, you will fail. You will fail. Now, it doesn't have to take the format of a Gantt chart with SMART goals,
Right.
but you've got to have a structured strategy that starts from a current state of where you are and where you want to go with goals around it, period. If you don't have that, you're flying blind, forget it. Okay, let's assume, so strategy is where everything starts, okay? And to execute on that strategy, you need the tactics, processes, and the people, okay? To execute the strategies to meet those goals. So assuming the strategy is in place, let's check that box. Systems is the pillar that is the enabler. It's not the effector. It is not the dictator. It is the part that effects the work. Okay, so it's actually the easiest part when it's implemented properly. So 3 lessons to learn before you take off. Don't get shiny object syndrome.
Yes.
Build lean. One CRM and a couple different pieces, maybe a project management tool. It could be a Monday. We use Trello. There's Basecamp. There's a billion of them for projects and programs and people, when you're herding cats and doing developers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And obviously communication stuff, Google Workspace, Microsoft 365, and either Teams or Zoom. I mean, we know what know what the tech is. You probably want to have a subscription to like an Apollo or a Zoom Info for filling your prospect database.
For chat.
Slack for chat. Yep. It does not need to be a robust tech stack for growth. Get the key elements. Don't over deploy or overbuy. Implement with a learn, adopt, embrace approach. Start lean and scale, and build your systems around your execution roadmap of your strategy, not the other way around. That's where a lot of failures happen.
Yeah.
So start with the business and then build the system around it. That's the easy part. And then from the top down, finally, is everybody has to use it. Everybody has to buy into it, right?
Yeah.
If not everybody's using it, you're putting yourself at risk.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are the key parts when it comes to actually implementing the system. And the system is what affects your ability to efficiently execute the strategic roadmap to grow your business.
Okay. Fantastic. Any final thoughts?
No, I think we're good. Final thought, takeaway: don't overbuy. Don't have shiny new object syndrome. Start with a CRM that works for your business, that is scalable, that has marketing and sales and service capabilities.
Yeah.
If you don't know which one to choose or how to implement it, please call on an expert. Please. You will save yourself a lot of money and time and headache and aggravation. Flawed implementations, I think, are 74% of failures in CRM installs. Tons of money is being spent, not being spent properly. Get an expert
Yeah.
to help you out with the implementation, and an expert that's after your best interest, not the software provider or the commission for their sale of that software.
Right. Okay. Kenan, thank you so much for the time today. I appreciate your insights. To our viewers, we appreciate you tuning in for episode 2 of The Revenue Recipe. I'm Ben Wiggins on behalf of Sellerant and on behalf of Proclaim. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in.